Hi, well, as per my previous video, we are just back from a trip and I've done some dismantling to finish off certain areas that still need work on them. This is the electric bed, so let me just operate it first. It's a bit noisy for you, but it's not as noisy in the van. So that's the switch we use, just a simple up and down switch. It sounds a lot easier coming down than going up. I can assure you that it's because the weight is working with the motors that it sounds at ease coming down. And when it's going up, it sounds like it's struggling. They're not. That's actually how they sound in when they're working in real life, in their normal situation. They are motors out of a mobility vehicle that pulls a wheelchair into a vehicle via a webbing, basically a seatbelt strap. So I've adapted them. I've got two. One is enough, but I built in redundancy. One on this side and one on this side, working in opposite ways, opposite orientations to one another, so they work together with winding the strap work up. I'm going to finish off the actual drive shaft. It's a garden umbrella pole that I've adapted. It will be replaced with something more permanent and more professional, dare I say. The middle strap here, or the strap to this end, it just comes directly down and double clamped on the inside of the frame, all four corners. I'll drop it down again. The strap that goes to the head end of the bed runs above the ceiling and comes down on a couple of rollers. I'll just take you over that side. You can see that. Comes down on a roller at the top and then through a guide there, and then drop straight down on an aluminium bar, which we insert at either end or either side of the van. We have a bracket to drop essentially a bar in, not this one but a bigger one, so it comes down onto that level. And also we keep the table leg in here, because the top of the table leg it's all made so that it's exactly the right height for the center bar here to come down and rest onto, to give it more support. And then again here the bed frame comes down and rests on these two platforms either side, there and there, and that gives it a really secure seating. Mind the noise again. And then it just pulls up once the the duvet is on the bed, we pull it up until the whole thing just self-clamps really. There are a couple of additions I have to make electric wise. Each motor will have its own fuse, and then under this front seat where the electrics are, I will add a trip fuse rated for both the motors. So at the moment I don't have an off or a limiter switch. I'm working on that, so it's really a little bit of judgment as to when the bed is sort of pulled up enough. If you put it up too much, the motors are so strong it'll blow a fuse. So hence the main trip switch and also the individual fuses for the motors. The bar is captivated or captured, or whatever the term is, on these two plywood braces with a hole through. The plywood is then bolted to a cross member on the ceiling, and either end of the motor there is a decoupling mechanism, so I can, if one of the motors blows completely or both, there is redundancy in that the bed can be lowered and kept lowered until I can repair it. So if the motors for some reason stop working, if one of them did, I can decouple the union, and then the bar will rest within this bit of plywood with a hole in it, and it'll, with a bit of help, manual help, the mechanism will still work. If both motors go, then you can decouple either end. It's the same coupling mechanism on the other end, and you can lower the bed, and at least you can transport yourself back to somewhere where you can repair it. And it wouldn't matter if if we're out on a long trip and the bed was permanently down. Inconvenient, but it's not the end of the world. So that's a lot of bracketry here, because of course the braces of the roof are curved, whereas we need a direct line of sight from this this turning mechanism of that motor to the other mechanism. So I've had to make slightly tapered fixing brackets to bring the motor in, sort of from tilting upwards to tilting in line with the other side. So quite a lot of work. This is another sort of proof of concept, all to be tidied up with better fitting and better looking equipment. A couple of discs here just to keep this strap in line in case it wants to wander. It hasn't done yet really, but these are temporarily, sort of two discs temporarily kept in place with Jubilee clips, so that the strap keeps itself in line. The others seem to be okay, again to be worked on. Right, that's the electric lifting bed. Any questions? Quite happy to help and answer, or any observations and improvements, quite happy to hear those too. Okay, cheers.